Okay. The content is being
Sent to
sent
a
to
third
third
party.
party. Okay.
Yeah.
But then the YouTube will be seeing this view, not the view of this one. Let's see.
We are starting.
This is the view that will be online. But then I can't hold it like this now. Let's see if I can give this other guy sharing rights. Let me make post. Okay.
Hello, Lady K. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Do we meet in person?
No, you don't know Lady K. Lady K is a mover.
Okay, you're fine.
Lady K is a mobilizer. I know it's very good.
Lord Frank, say hi. Let us hear you.
Network. Where do I
Hello.
start?
Good evening to you fine people. How you
Hi,
guys
Lord
doing?
Frank. People are blushing over here.
Lord Frank.
My brother, how's it going?
Very well, thank you.
It's good to hear your voice. Yeah.
Some people are blushing here. They hear what and start blushing. Some people behind the scene. You
How
can't
you
see them,
saying?
but they love your voice.
Oh, appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming, Lord Frank. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
Shall we
So
begin?
I guess we might just not be recording this episode of Unashamed Conversations, and that will be sad. Okay, let's see. One more try.
We're trying to stream live on YouTube, so that's what we're trying to do. But if we can't stream live, then I guess we'll just have to do without it.
Okay, we go.
Ready?
And you are welcome to another exciting episode of Unashamed Conversations. My name is Ikine Stronghold, and of course, I have on site.
My name is Joy Bekene, and we're doing it differently today. How do you guys like this set? Do you like it? Yeah, another episode. Oh, yes, thank you. So it's another episode of Unashamed Conversations, and today we're going to be dealing with or talking about village people advice when you are about to get married, yes or no. For those people that are married or in relationships, did you get unsolicited advice from your friends, family? Which one worked? Which one didn't work? Would like to hear you talk about your experiences with unsolicited advice from friends, families, foes, and see what worked. So struggle.
Struggle don't get anything to talk to you today.
Why?
Because you follow for people who will be like, you look like all those village people too that know how to give plenty advice. Because my thought is that village people will always give advice. But then the question is,
who are the village people? But for context, who are the village people?
if I'm in a marriage, you follow for the village people.
Why do I feel like this episode we have less bass?
So, guys, if you don't see me outside next episode, you know why. So just.
But the point is, we have had too much basketball, so today I'm trying to be very nice. I'm being my nice good self. Even my wife has warned me, to be politically correct. And Joy was telling me that we have more men than women today, probably because I don't take village people advice.
My brother is humble.
Okay, serious business. Unsolicited advice in this climb. I don't know how it happens other places, but in this climb, The moment you say you want to marry, people will start giving you advices. People will tell you their own opinion of what they think marriage is like. Are you prepared? People begin to assess your life, especially your new decisions to get married, who you want to marry. Also taking into consideration how they previously known you. And I think that's where the mistake starts from, how they previously known you. And for me, I think it's very wrong. For me, I think it's very wrong. I think that because of our African context, we do too much family people. We grow in the context of a community. So people, as you grow, people are always looking at you, but they are looking at you from the outside. They really don't know you. These are people that don't live with you. You know. No, this is why they come. But truly,
No,
my friend, a friend of mine says, a friend of mine told me that, strong, will not be you where we know. And I was really thinking that this guy knows me. So I decided to ask him a very simple question. What's my favorite color? Joe, you know me, right?
Get to 7
Or what's my favorite color?
No, black, public colors.
No, like on the serious. Well, I think we just presume in Africa. I think we just presume we know people. Meanwhile, we truly don't know. And for me, I think it's very imposing. I think it's very imposing.
But don't you think it comes from the context of the African community or this communal living? And sometimes, and again, I want to ask, don't you think it comes from a place of, don't you think it comes from a good place?
Well, I think that African love can be very destructive. I don't think we know how to love. Yeah. I think Africans, the bulk of us don't really understand what love is. When you do that mushy, mushy, mushy thing, we call it love. You know, but then maybe it's just me talking. So let's.
Just you talking. To ask you guys.
Mr. Unique, what do you think? I know you're a married man, Mr. Unique. Let's hear from you.
Okay. First and foremost, I would say as human being, man, all our actions are a product of our environment. So everything we do is by influence, whether directly or indirectly. Before we choose to go into marriage, we must have seen models that we admire or that we emulate. I would say it's nothing bad to get an advice, provided it's from your model. I understand right now that most times people tend to get advice from the wrong people. And when it boomerangs, it's not like, why should I get an advice? Secondly, if you are being technical, in quote and unquote, trained well, even before you're about getting married, on what to look out for, you'll find out that at that point in time, you might not necessarily need an advice. But before that time, someone must have advised you on what to look out for. Other times, if you have a very good family model, there's nothing bad inviting your the person you intend to get married to the house, right? Your family, they check on the person. They ask you questions on probably one or two things you might be forgetting. It might be somebody that is AS, you know, and they'll be like, man, have you checked if this person is AS? You know, there might be these and these considerations. Are you ready? You know, it's not about them making decisions for you, but it's about them highlighting one or two things you might not see, then asking you, are you ready, you know, to go on with this? You know, or based on this, I think you guys are a good match. You know, maybe you can even hasten the whole thing rather than, you know. Then lastly, you know, again, trying to bring down our African values. I think that's wrong when we're talking about issues of marriage, because Africans, we have less divorce rate compared to the Western world he's trying to emulate. So why should we emulate our Western world that tend to live on their own? And most of them are even from broken homes, single parent homes. You know, these are not people who will try to emulate when it comes to getting married. I think our African models might should still be the best, even though we can still tweak it a little bit for more efficiency, but my summation is getting advice from the right model. It's not wrong. For me personally, if you get advice from the Bible regarding marriage,
But it's nothing.
yeah.
Mr. Unique,
Please go on.
what advice you've done? You're done. I believe you're done, Mr. Unique.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, so what advice did you get when you were about getting married that worked for you? What worked for you? What didn't? Because I know.
But I have a rejoinder. I have a rejoinder.
Okay.
Mr. Unique, when we talked about me, I wasn't putting down our African culture. But now that you have made the whole claim that we have less divorce cases, do you really think so? Or is it because we don't have the institutions that facilitate a divorce easily for us? Number two is, do you think most people are in marriages that they are happy to be in, or because of this same African context, people are forced to leave other marriage when they actually want to go? Take into consideration the number of domestic violence cases that we've had over the years. Is that a plus to African tendency to live together in spite of these issues? Lastly, let's look at the results that we have produced over the years. When we say Africans have less cases of divorce, look at the overall society. Have our families living together produced a better society? We live in, and let's take Nigeria for instance. We have quite a low case of divorce rate, right? And let's take a country, let's say France, or even America, that you live in. Now, have we seen that core family values that we claim that marriages that don't break up instill in children? Are we seeing the results in the society? Is Nigeria a better society than America, for instance? Have we seen that requisite societal values? Are people more honest in Nigeria? Are people more truthful? Have we produced better leaders than Americans? If we actually have this family staying together, if it's true that it produces better individuals, where do you draw the comparison?
First and foremost, you're talking about people being happy in the marriage. I will tell you something, divorce is expensive. No matter how we paint it, divorce is very expensive. Sometimes it's even better you even try to make it work. It's even easier than going through divorce. Here in America, divorce is really, really expensive. It could even be cheaper in Nigeria, where we don't even divorce. Here it's expensive. Some people even have mental issues when they go through divorce. I've seen most of my colleagues, some of them, I even send them home as a supervisor. Man, go home, go take care of yourself when they're going through divorce. Some of them, as in small thing, you take them to psychiatric homes. So let's not paint divorce like something that is we're trying to make it fashionable now. Those people that go through divorce, if they come out openly and tell you their experiences, you will know that it's not something you would want to go into. It's something you would want to even avoid before going into marriage, right? Having said that, I understand our situations now. If we were to be some years back, I would say yes, our marriages are far better than what we have here. I believe they are still far better because when I discuss with some of my American friends, I'll be like, man, they'll be like, man, why not you get me some American women? Reason being that they feel that our American women, they stick with the men for so long because they don't want to go through divorce here and there, right? I might be missing some of your questions because your questions were so long.
I
right?
was feeling for you.
Yeah. So, but for me, divorce is expensive. When you talk about domestic violence, yes, we understand. You are trying to say domestic violence is on the increase. No, I believe it's social media that is trying to make it seem as if maybe I don't have a figure, but maybe up to 50% of marriages go through domestic violence. But I tend to disagree. I tend to disagree. I just feel like maybe because of the Osinachi issue, one or two other issues that came up, we're trying to blow it out of proportion. But other than that, I feel before you go into marriage, first and foremost, you have it at the back of your mind. Marriage is all about sacrifice. So both for the man and the woman, if you're not ready to sacrifice, why go into marriage? I believe baby mama is trending right now. Yes, that is an alternative. You can go into that. But if you're ready to go into marriage, you should be ready to sacrifice. So there is going to be up and down. It's not going to be rosy all the time, but there should be compensation. At this point, it's rosy. At this point, I'm at my down. Yes, definitely to come back up, But some people, once it's up, yes, they're in their joy moment, just like they're in a roller coaster, yeah. But once it comes down, they can't take it. Man, I can't take this. I can get something better, and they are off. It's not that way, right? So it's all about sacrifice. And anybody that is not ready to sacrifice should not go into marriage.
Wait,
Thank
I
you,
have a
except I
question
missed
for
some of
Mr.
your
Knight.
questions. Yep.
Mr. Unique, you didn't answer my question.
Please, what was the question? Joy, I can't hear you. Joy, I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I asked, I said, which advice were you given when you were about to get married? Which one did you
Which
take?
one?
Which one worked for you? Which one didn't?
When I started, I said marriage is as a man, we are a function of our environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before I got married, definitely I looked at my father, my mom, their model. I looked at the wrong thing I noticed in their marriage. I looked at the right things they did in their marriage. So for me, that was already an advice for me to take, right? Going into marriage. Yes, I'm going to love my wife this way. If there was domestic violence, there will never be domestic violence in my house. Definitely there was always a model for me to look after and pick the right and correct the wrong. So it's not like I sat down, but definitely I also went for marriage classes. Whether I learned something from that marriage classes, I can't really tell. I just hope those that are in the marriage class will not see this online. I can't really tell, right? But definitely before I went into marriage, I already made up my mind that definitely I'm going to sacrifice for the person I want. Definitely I'm going to once I find out the person I can really, really accommodate, I can really, really tolerate everything, the one I'm in love with, yes, I'm ready to go in and I'm ready to make the sacrifice. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's take some more reactions, but ultimately you did not answer my question. You centered around the fact that when you make a case for the African context, there is no empirical evidence that Africans have had more successful marriages. That's not looking like that. It's true. The society we live in, no, we don't have to be sentimental about it and say, oh, because we have Africans, then we would say that Africans have had better marriages. If we've had better marriages, it should translate in the society. We should see better leadership. We should see we should have lower crime rates. All this one is on marriage. Yes, now. So the leadership we have now is because marriage is somehow. No, but then look at the case. I'm trying to be as plain as possible. No, but then look at the case. The case is when I say that, let's say
Hello. Hello, Ekine, can I just give you one sentence?
Please give him more, sir.
Nigerian men, hope you know we are the most sought out almost around the globe when it comes to marriage.
So more sought out than Italian men.
Yes. Even
These
here
are
in
some
America,
people.
most women want to marry Nigerian men. Vis-a-vis, because one, we tend to take care of the homes, right? We can keep our women in the house without working. We can, not like as in every
I
woman will
think
like it,
that we
right?
can. The question is, irrespective of the fact that we can, is it the best? Do women want to be kept at home
That's
without
why I said
working?
quote. That's why I
That's
said
an
quote and
entirely
unquote.
different
That's
conversation
why I
for
said.
me.
That's why I said quote and unquote. Some women
So,
like it.
so you see, the fact is that everything that you have said here is highly subjective. There are no statistics to buttress your points.
What
And
statistics do you want? Over here in America, most Nigerian men that got married to American women, you hardly find American women going to the court to divorce Nigerian men.
are you saying that when Nigerian women too marry non-Nigerian men, are you saying that they don't make better marriages? So there's no statistics supporting that Nigerian men make the best homes.
The truth is, Nigerian women, when they come over here to America, they don't want to marry American men. It's only in Nigeria that they fantasize about American men.
At this point, because I'm trying to understand the premise of it. I think at this point, I think we take more reactions from.
Let's
Mr. Unique has your time today. He has your time today.
let's hear from other people. Samuel Ajibola is here. Lord Frank is here. Hands up if you have things to say. But I'm still going with my line of thought that village people advise you can do marriage somehow because they judge you based on how they are previously.
But talking about judgment, it's not necessarily about judgment. It's more or less about they just want, okay, let's look at it like this. Let's say maybe an uncle or a friend, an older friend has been married for, let's say, 15 years, and you're about to enter into marriage. Of course, he will want to counsel you from his wealth of experience.
Let me give you a real life example. An aunt of mine and her fiancé, then they wanted to get married, and they came to my dad for advice. My dad and his wife, and I think at that time, my dad and my stepmom, they were like 10 years married. By the time they came for the advice, something happened. My dad and mom started quarreling in front of the people that came for advice, and it was an ugly scene. And I've had the same experience. And what is the criteria? What is the criteria that their own advice will work in your own case?
That's why
because
we are
every
asking.
marriage is different. Let's hear from the
That's what
other.
we're asking. We put yes or no on the flyer. We're asking what worked, what didn't work. Because it's very obvious they are coming from a place of you will not even take anybody's advice. That's how you are sounding right now. You will not take anyone's advice. But let's ask others because we have someone who's married. What worked for him? If he had village people talk to him, what worked, what didn't work, and we have that's Mr. Kingsley, right?
Yeah, that's Daniel today. Okay.
Oh, Mr. Daniel. Okay.
Reactions. Okay, Samuel Ajibola has something to say. I've asked you on mute. Mr. Samuel Ajibola, let's hear you, please.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Hosts, participants.
Stop calling him like that. His wife can hear you. Just say hello.
No. She's not a threat right now. She's not a threat. Good evening. Yes, I'm particularly joyed to contribute to this particular discussion, and that is because I won't lie to you. Yeah, you see, let me start from the very genesis. I don't think it is about the advice, to be honest. Why would I say that? Because I'm a very, please forgive me, I see things in a very weird way. So I like to look at things very, very out of the box.
Please go ahead.
Human beings have always not really taken advice per se. And I mean, when I'm saying human beings, I'm not talking about every human being. I'm talking about the large, gross population of people that meet people and hear things. It sometimes a part of it can stick to their thought process, but it doesn't generally guarantee that it will determine their choices. For example, if God can tell Adam and Eve, you can eat any of the tree in this tree, but don't eat this particular tree. And out of all the whole trees in the garden, they chose to eat that particular one. It means that advices can be swayed with time, which means that if you hear an advice now in 2024, what is the guarantee that that advice might even be on your mind in 4 months from now, 6 months from now, or 10 months from now when you're about to make a crucial decision in life? That's one. Yes, Ezra, please. That is busy right now. Okay, so that's one point. That's just one point. Now, let's leave the whole biblical analogy and bring it to the human context. I am very, very, very sure that even beyond advice, what primarily shapes the mindset of people, there's something that is called persona. There's something that is called character. There's something that is called behavior. Those things, it is not really advice that can shape that person. It's easy to shape someone when they are in their formative age, when they are still 0 to maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. They are still very young. Then they can still bend. They can still bend their thought process to adjust and to somehow incline with whatever philosophies you are bringing to them. But imagine and I'm going to give a practical real life example from a story that I've heard. A story that I've heard. And I know that a lot of people have gone through such examples. So this story I heard now is about the story of 3 children. The firstborn is 14, the second one is maybe 10, the third one is 7. And they have obviously 2 parents, a husband, a father, and a mother. They are still living together. But in as much as they are living together, they fight dirty. Like the person that was giving me this story works at a supermarket and was telling me that on a Saturday morning, when she was at the supermarket, the husband and the wife were fighting dirty in front of the supermarket. Like, what it means to fight dirty? Both of them are holding their clothes, tearing each other, blowing each other, and their 3 kids are standing in front of them watching these things. Now, to someone that is seeing these things for the first time, you might be looking, what is all this? How are you behaving like that? But have you imagined if these children have been experiencing it for 10 years? Maybe the 14-year-old kid has been having such childhood trauma from 4 or 5, seeing his parents arguing, and you know how these things can be with young children. We grew up seeing our parents together, expecting that they are like the best of both worlds, and this is how I want to grow, and then you are seeing this, and then you've seen it over time. You've seen it over time. and grow into it so much so that even when they are fighting on some instances, some of those kids can be just saying, this one has small fights. No worry, we don't see the one we pass this one. They'll be saying, we don't see the one we pass this one. Just imagine, I'm just giving you analogies of how the mindset of people can be shaped even before they get to the age of marriage. And then they are beginning to hear advice from village people or even the parents. Let's imagine such parents are advising children and saying, you have to love your wife, you don't have to be abusive. But the life of that boy, he has grown up seeing his father slapping his mother anytime his mother is questioning him. He has grown up seeing his mother pushing the father, or just reacting. I've heard stories. I've heard stories of this. I gave you an example of coming from a father figure. Let me give you an example of a lady. This is a woman that married a friend of mine. Now they are going through divorce. And this is because the woman that is about to divorce my husband grew up seeing her mother like dragging this fight thing with her father. If her father wants to do anything, she will carry knife. So if you talk anyhow, I will choke you out. This is a young girl growing up seeing that. These were the things she saw growing up. And then she grew up into her own marriage doing the same thing. Now she did it with a man that is scared of those kind of things. And now the man says, if a woman carries knife to me, that means that I cannot live with her. What if this time that I just managed to escape? What if the next time she chokes me? What if the next time she stabs me? And he decides that he wants to divorce her because he's scared of his life. Would you tell me that such people have not gone through village people, parents, siblings, cousins, or whoever it is to advise them and say, when you're getting into marriage, please respect your husband. You have to sacrifice. You have to love. Those things don't come into the mind of people when they are in the heat of an argument. Those things don't come to the mind of the people when they are being tried or tested, or when their childhood traumas are being triggered. Those things don't come in the way at all. It is the full definition. It is the complete build-up of the persona of the person, his childhood traumas, the things that have built him up to a stage in life where his personality is already shaped, that will now determine, is it a person that is an abusive husband? Is it a wife that is an abusive wife? Those are the things that will now come in the way before we now even begin to get into the stories of divorce. Divorce is like towards the after we've crossed the border. But the real question is before you cross the border. The real questions are before the border. The real questions are it happens before you, if you pay attention to those red flags before you say I do. So I don't think the whole the essence of the advice from whoever it is, I don't care whether it is the father of the bridegroom or whether it is the mother or whether it is the village people, it is not that. If it is a boy that has grown up seeing his father slapping his mother all his life and knowing that is, and coming to the conclusion that is the way to correct a woman, even if a pastor, even if he goes through what they call this guidance and counseling in church for 1 year, and the pastor is telling him every day, don't beat your wife. When he is triggered, when his wife calls him, you are a stupid man, the 1 minute, 1 second that that word will enter his ear, that he will stretch his hand and slap her, he will not remember what the pastor told him. He will not remember what the village people are telling him. It is now based on who and what has shaped that person through his formative age that will now determine what the response of that person will be. And I'm saying this because of personal experience. I grew up never seeing my father beat my mother.
let me just cut you briefly. Are you saying
Okay.
in essence that it is a no for you? Village people
It's a no
advise.
for me in what sense?
Are you saying that village people advice when you want marry is a no for you? Is that what you're saying?
I don't really think it matters. I think what really matters is if whoever is going to get involved in the relationship has the eyes of their understanding open enough to see what their partner is bringing to the table and understanding if they can really tolerate these things for the rest of their life. Are you
All
understanding
right.
where I'm coming from? For example, so there are
Okay.
women that in just the dating stages, they are seeing their boyfriend slapping them, and they know that if I tolerate this, if I say I do, it will get worse in marriage, and they leave. We hear often that a broken relationship is better than a broken marriage, which is often true, which is often true because it is better for you to marriage is a very crucial decision. We know that now we are in a generation where, unlike the previous generation of our parents, our fathers, our mothers tolerated a whole lot. There was no such things like feminism. There was no such things like gender equality. There was no such things as abuse. If a man is beating his wife, generally, they will look at him as if he's training his daughter. Do you understand? In those days, that's how our culture and our society shaped us to be. But the African society, and I'll bet the Nigerian society, is emulating a lot from the American society. We've emulated so much, a whole lot. And in that sense, our society is beginning to adopt more of Eurocentric ideas more than Afrocentric ideas. And what that means is that society is changing. But on that notice, it doesn't now mean
Mr.
that,
Samuel,
yes,
because we'll ask you to round up because we'll actually have to take other responses from other people. So yeah,
okay, all right.
yeah,
So let me just round up quickly. On that
yeah.
notice here, like I mentioned earlier, it is the precipice of the recipient's background that will determine whether the marriage will work or not. I grew up in a family where I never saw my dad beat my mom. And I took that as the primary thing. I saw my dad, they had issues, they argued, they quarreled, but I saw that after small, and it wasn't about malice, it wasn't about not talking to each other for weeks. So all those things, I knew that arguments are normal, but over time, you get over it, you move on. And I realized over time, thank God for social media and the advantage of the expanse of knowledge that we have. I realized that, you see, to make this married thing work, one person, especially the wiser person, has to be the fool. Especially the wiser person, you will take a lot of bullshit, especially in the formative years of the marriage. Because just the way a child has a formative years, the marriage has its formative years. The first 4, 5, 7, 10, 15 years sometimes have to take a lot of rubbish. One person will be there to pay the sacrifice, because if two people are bringing up their egos, it will not work and they will break up. That's why you see some marriages after 1 year they break up, because both of them cannot tolerate each other. So
Samuel,
that is not.
All right. Thank
You want to
you,
say
thank
something,
you.
Mr. Unique? Go ahead, please.
Yeah,
yeah,
thank,
Samuel, I
thank
wanted to
you.
say
Let me, Mr. Unique. Let's
one
take
short one,
Rookie.
5 seconds,
Let's
5 seconds
take.
only.
Okay, 5 seconds. After you will take Rookie. Rookie's hand is up. 5 seconds, please.
Okay, I said I wanted to tell Samuel that he's not in support of giving advice to people that intend to get married, but he's already giving advice already, something he does not support.
Like I mentioned earlier, will it count if the person is already shaped mentally? Will it count?
Okay, let's take Rookie. Rookie, please, you have the floor.
Hi. Okay, so I kind of joined very late, but from what I've been hearing, I just wanted to say this very, very quickly. So I've been married for 13 years, and
How was her wedding?
Oh,
Yes, hi Joy.
Hi
So
there.
in the issues of marriage, there should honestly not be a third party. Nobody can give you any advice because they are not living in your time. They're not living the marriage with you. And in
Exactly.
marriage too, there is not it's not one size fits all. Just because it didn't work out for somebody that had so and so experience. I've met couples here because I'm on an island. It's quite small and everybody knows everybody. So around the time I got married in 2012, I've seen, let's say we had 100 people that all got married at that time, and I've seen a lot of shit go down in every other person's marriage, mine inclusive. And sometimes when I see some of the things that have happened to other people that they say, oh, I'm done, I'm breaking up, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm like, you are just you are just scratching the surface of your problem and you're saying you're done. If you leave my life, that means by now you'll be dead. So it's not one size fits all. I'll just say that the two people going into partnership, into a relationship, into a marriage should be able to say, look, it is this for me, no matter what. Because human beings evolve. You could be marrying a God-sent person right now, and then life happens. He loses his job. Things don't pan out the way he wanted. And then he changes completely on you. And you're like, what happened to this, my saintly husband? Why is he now a monster? Shit happens. I'm telling you, take it to the bank. Shit happens. He started out the perfect husband, was all doting, all sensitive, all at, just name it, anything good about a man. And then suddenly some things are happening. Even the death of a parent can make people change. Sometimes it's the death of a child that changes people. You don't see those things coming. But if you know that you're going into marriage, just put your head down, hunker down, and ask God to help you. Whether na Amadioha you pray to Amadioha, anything. But I can never ever sit anybody down. The other day, someone was telling me, oh, couple goals, a young girl was telling me, oh, couple goals, I see your husband. And I'm like, And she was telling me, I pray God will do my own life. He said, don't swear for yourself. Don't swear for yourself. Just ask for your own. What's the word I used that day to her? I said, ask that your own piece of pie will be something that you can tolerate and accommodate. Don't ever wish for any other person's marriage because you don't know what it is that they're going through. You don't know the half of it. Marriage is not for the faint-hearted, and it's not one size fits all. Like I said, I've met a couple here that they started out. In fact, let me just tell you, the wife was a prostitute. When I say prostitute, but do you know that today, after 10 years of marriage, I look at them and I'm like, I can't believe that you guys have stood the test of time. People that started out looking like Pastor, Mrs. They are nowhere to, they have lost it along the way. They didn't even make it to the first 5 years.
Wow.
There is nothing set in stone when it comes to marriage. Make everybody just they follow there. Not listen to anybody. Focus on your marriage and look for how it will work for you. And be ready to tolerate, like you said at the end. I don't know, the other man that was speaking initially. If you don't have the spirit of tolerance, you will die before your time. And you will divorce as many men or as many women along the way, remarry and divorce, remarry. And my mother is a living example of it. My mother said the first 10 years of her marriage, she was sure she will leave. But today, it's 40 years plus, in fact, that she's been married to my dad. And she's like, she thanks God every day that she actually waited for him to. And most times, I won't lie to you guys, it's the men that need to grow up. That's the honest truth. It's the men that need to. If you check
I
it,
want us to finish now.
I
Please
didn't say
continue.
I didn't say all the time, but I said most times.
This
Most
Continue,
this
my
times.
discussion
sister.
should finish this episode, though.
Please continue, my sister.
No. See, I am not taking a jab at men. I am not taking a jab at men. The honest truth is, there are women out there that too need to grow up, but men most times need to grow up. Most times. I didn't say all the time. Most times. Most times. At least, okay, let me give it a number. At least 60% of the times. So that people will not say that I'm saying that the women are, but 60% of the time, I think most times it's men that need to do the growing up. All right. With that being said, that's all I just needed to say. It's not one size fits all. It's not in set in
I
stone.
accept this one. I accept this submission. I accept this one.
You are not going anywhere. Mr. Unique, do you have something to say before we take
I support her on this one.
You support her on this one?
Statistics was okay.
All right, Choma, you have the floor.
Choma, unmute your mic. You have the floor. She said she's been tapping.
Choma, let me see if I can unmute you here.
Unmute her there.
Choma, I can't unmute you here. Can you unmute? I'm asking you to unmute.
She says she's been wanting to talk, but obviously, maybe when she unmutes, then she can talk.
Can you unmute, Choma? Okay, Mr. Unique, you want to say something while we try to unmute Choma?
Yeah.
Okay, I think our network has issues.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I think from the way the conversation is going, it's like most people are tilting towards my point when we started this conversation, where you want to chop me wrong.
Which is
that I am I am for village people advice before marriage. No. For me,
so nothing is good. No advice, nothing.
No,
you're all for just enter, like no advice, nothing.
That's what I'm telling you, that like I go with what Ruki said, that there's not one size fits all. You know, that when it comes to marriage, some of the things that is a no for you might also be a yes for another person. The reason why you don't want to marry someone might be the reason why another person wants to marry that person. So, and the society has a construct that will offer you advice based on an expectation of what marriage is. And anytime there is generalization, we run the risk of losing individuality. Yes. For me, I would say that, no one size fits all. I think what we should be focused on is the fact that, why do you even want to marry? Before you marry, do you understand what marriage is like? Are you prepared for what happens in marriage?
What if you just want some shit? This is very. See, you're laughing. What if you just want some sugar and you want it with one person?
No, that's not enough reason, because at some point in time, the sex will fade. Sex is not enough. So I think those are
my married people, sex is not enough.
No,
it
sex
will
is
fade.
not enough. Of course not. The point is that
no.
So let us say this: if the sex is not enough, it's going to fade.
Well, if you're not having good sex it's something that holds a marriage together too. It
What are you
does.
saying?
It does. Then my question is,
it's an important part, but it's not the entire thing.
That's
right?
the point.
It's important.
No, I didn't say it's not important. I'm saying that it is not enough. For instance, you have to breathe to be alive, right? You have to eat to be alive. You have to drink to be alive. So if you are breathing and you are eating and you are not drinking water, your health will suffer. You can find a formula to go on
exactly
little water, but then at the end of the day, it's going to impact on your health.
So can I tell you what my mother says? My mother uses this terminology for it. She says the Bible talks about moderation, and moderation is not the absence of don't do this. It will say find the sweet balance in between. So don't drink. That's not what moderation is. You can't drink, but find that sweet balance. And that's the same thing you have to do to find. You have to find that sweet spot in your marriage, where sex comes in, where money comes in, where prayer comes in. There's always that sweet spot. So find it.
Now, here's the part. Here's the part for me, where if we're targeting, so this is where I have a little bit of cliche, which I want to agree with what's somehow what Mr. Unique said. Models. If you truly know a model that is the model marriage for you, do your research. If you are sure that this is what you want to model your marriage after, and your partner is in agreement that this is a model family for you, then you can take that advice. But then if you look at the logistics of doing that, it's very difficult. What are the chances that the same person I look at as a model, both the man and the woman, that's husband and wife, will also be a model for my partner, model husband and wife? The chances are very slim. And then also, I realized that advice. Do they really know your goals? How will that advice even come? Will it change, like Mr. Samuel Ajibola said, past traumas, past experiences? I think those are the core determinants of how a marriage between couples will play out. Your past is like the baggage you carry along with you. It's like your shadow. You hardly ever lose it. And then when people want to give you advice, they will give you advice based on, for instance, people that have never lived with me in my house. They don't know how I think, they don't know how I work. Now be giving me advice. Okay, you don't have to be hot tempered. You don't have to be. How do you have hot tempered in the first place?
But it's generic, like from a good place.
Now that's the point. That is from a good place does not mean that it works. That's the mushy. I'm thinking like
That's
that.
my point exactly. That's my point exactly.
Yeah, mushy things that you do.
So, can you unmute my mic if you're ready?
There are various forms in which advice can come in marriage, right? If you meet the right people. My emphasis is you meet the right people. It's not only on values. It could be on financial discipline. This marriage you are going into, try to save for the rainy day. Sometimes women will change them for you if you broke.
Exactly.
Just assuming, just not like the perfect example. But what I was saying is, for most of us,
easy anniversary. You shouldn't be alone today. Are you holding up?
I'm all right. I actually spent the weekend doing things that Adam loved. As what
Yeah, Mr. Unique, please go on.
Okay. For most of us, our parents were our model. Our parents were our model, or some other people were our models. For some of us, we saw the bad things our parents did. That was an advice already for us going into marriage, right? You can get advice directly or indirectly. Even the economy of Nigeria can even advise you when going into marriage. Like, Oga, you are not going to have more than one kid. Your economy is not enough. That is already an advice. So for us saying we don't need advice when going into marriage, it's like saying we just want to blindfold our eyes and go into it. Or already we've already been inundated about what it takes to get married, and what it takes to stay married. But for me, my perfect model is the Bible, right? Which teaches forgiveness ahead of time. I believe where both partners are believers, right? True believers, and both partners are gentle, patient, they have the characteristics of love, right? And they choose to forgive. I believe that marriage is going to last and that marriage is going to be enjoyable. Where both partners are ready to sacrifice one for the other, that marriage is going to last. You get me? And that marriage is going to stand the test of time. That is just all that for me. For me, if you don't want to meet anybody, right, study your Bible for those that are Christians on the part that talks about love and what it takes to love and how a husband should sacrifice himself, be ready to die as Christ died for the church, which is greater than submission, which most women are running away anyway, because submission does not mean you bow down to the man. I understand. Feminists should not attack me here. Because yes, dying for a woman is far worse. For me, I've told my wife, at some point I told my wife, man, can we swap? Be ready to die for me. Take all the bullshit from me. While every morning I tobale for you. That is far easy. I don't know why it's a problem. Right? For me, if you feel you're a Christian, follow the Christian model of marriage. And I believe it's going to work. Thank you.
Now you see what I'm saying. Yeah, not a pretend. Everybody know your character. We know your character. Don't pretend like The point is,
expressions in me.
You never ever start them.
Online recording.
The point is, Mr. Mikuda said, if you're a Christian, follow the model of the Bible. Now,
the Bible also preaches submit one to another. The husband will submit to the wife will submit to the husband. It's not one way.
No, see what I'm saying. I agree with you when you say look at the Bible. Now when you're looking at the Bible, you're looking at the fruits of the Spirit. That's where you're talking about. So if we model, the Bible is enough model, not human beings. If you need advice, that's my thought, and that's my position. The Bible is the best person is the best entity to get. And let me not call it's not a person. Let me say it's the best place to get your advice from, because it's only the Bible that I can say is a one size fits all. The moment it's subjected to human interpretation, then it becomes subjective. And anything that is subjective cannot be a one size fits all. But let's take Choma. I don't know if it's Choma.
Choma ready now. Choma, can you hear? Because I really want to hear Choma talk. Choma, are you there?
Choma, your hand is up.
Oh, her hand is up.
Yes.
Then Choma, please unmute and speak. We should figure it out.
Let's see if we can unmute Choma. Oh, it's a network again. Choma, whenever you're good, whenever you figure it out, let's know. But Joy, what's your own opinion? Do you think that advice? Now, when we are talking about this advice, don't forget that there's also that part of marriage classes in church and all that. Do you think it works? Do you think it's the part?
I just think you can't just throw away the baby with the bathwater. You pick what works, right? Like, for example, now, getting married today, I would listen to a rookie who's been married for 13 years. I'd listen to a Choma who's been married for like close to, I think, 17, 18 years.
Rookie says no advice.
But even when she talks, she doesn't have to like directly come and advise you. From what she says, you can learn a thing or two.
Well,
all right. And then I'm all for the opinion. Just sift what you hear. Take what works and discard what doesn't work. But a situation where you say you're just not going to listen to anybody and you're just going to throw everything aside and just go in there and just dive in and try to navigate your way. Sometimes it's just easier to learn from other people's experiences.
I'll react to that later, but let's take Mr. Daniel today. Your hand is up. Mr. Daniel today, you have the floor. Please unmute.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Daniel.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Daniel. Good evening.
Oh, great. Good evening. Sorry, I apologize. I've been popping in and out. I've been in various meetings. But I like the conversation today, and I just want to contribute to it. So in terms of advice in marriage, I have come to understand that a person can only give what they have, all right? And no two marriages are the same, because the individuals that are coming together to couple are coming from different backgrounds. Now, giving advice or receiving advice, more appropriately in this case, from village people. In fact, first of all, I don't even like that term village people, because village people in the first place, their level of reasoning, they cannot even give somebody advice in the first place. You understand? So, but generally, let's just generalize that now. What works for person A does not necessarily work for person B. So I don't think that when it comes to receiving advice, you can learn from their experience, all right? You can learn from the journey that they have gone through if they are the kind of couple you want to be like, because regardless of the fact that marriages are different, there are also some common thread along across each marriage. And then anyone who is married can actually give some form of advice of what works for him. But the question to the person that's receiving the advice is that, does it work for you? Does it work? Have you known the person you want to couple with? Because anybody that is giving you an advice is talking based on the person he or she is coupled with, and his or experience in that coupling. So the question then will now be: do you understand the person you want to couple with, and then have understood him enough to customize your own staying together plan? Because getting advice from them is like getting their own template of their marriage, But another person's template for his or her marriage cannot really work for your marriage. You have to customize your own, So that is my take on that, really. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. Let's hear from Chukwemeka. Chukwemeka, your hand is up. Please unmute your mic.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Great. So, this is a very interesting topic, and I've been listening, and a lot of things were going through my head. And I was also remembering people and advices that people have given. Now, the first thing that I would say before you start receiving advice is to first of all know yourself first. Before you go into a marital relationship, know what your vision for that marriage is. What kind of home do you want to build? And be sure about it. If you are not sure about the kind of home you want to build, advices will take you to many roads. Even those advices that are seemingly good. For instance, I have a friend who was getting married. 2 years before, she got a scholarship to go abroad. She went abroad, and the government, Nigerian government, who they are as good as they are, stopped funding the scholarship, or it was delayed. Somebody sat on the money, and she was in the UK. She was dating a doctor. The doctor gave her his ATM card, and as they are paying his salary, she's having access to his money, and she was living on the doctor's salary. She graduated, they got married, and the elders that were advising her, the first advice they were giving her is to keep her money. Her husband should not see her money, that you can't trust men, and all of that. And she was talking to me and telling me this, and saying, does these people know how she has survived? That it is this man. But these people were giving honest advice based on their experiences and what the men they have lived with has shown them. But if you look at those people and their marriages, they may look good from outside, because our parents know how to patch these things up and look like everything is so peaceful and everything is working. So you might look at them and say, these are a happy family. Oh, this is the kind of family I want. But you don't know what they are enduring. And then they're now giving you this honest advice. If you don't know the kind of home you were trying to build from the beginning, you will start considering taking that advice. And you could take that advice to the detriment of your home. Then the man might start saying that, isn't not this woman that I virtually sponsored, that now I can access him? But she's acting on an advice that in case this man changes, she has money that she has saved that can save her and save her family. Now, that's how ridiculous advices can be. But there is a marriage that advice might be the best for. When you marry a kind of a man that tomorrow changes and starts misbehaving, you have money somewhere that can save you. So you see, for me, the first thing I would say before you start taking advice, know who you are, know where you are going. Then you can, and people are free to give advice. It is your choice to choose which one to take. If you don't know yourself, you might choose the one, you might take the one that could destroy you. That's my take. Then the second thing about when Stronghold was talking about the Bible is the number one guide. You more like you tested with the Bible. Now I will not say fine, good, perfect. But what about those people that don't even know how to search the scripture to find the solution that is suitable or the advice that is suitable per time? They will need to listen to somebody point them to the scripture, right? And the person might point them with their own interpretation. But what now happens to that person if the person pointing him to that is misinterpreting it, but is revered? I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm just looking at the practicality of it. Because when the shoe bites, then you will now know how real and how effective some of these advices can be. My point.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chukwemeka. Now, you see, at the end of the day, my point still remains, which I agree with you on both your points. And I am saying no advice based on the fact of subjectivity. Because the moment another person interprets the scriptures to you, you are, you can't take away subjectivity from interpretation. Interpretation is my own view of something that is written. And you see that when it comes to marriage, and I insist completely for Christians, Bible interpretation of the fruits of the Spirit, you never get it wrong. How do you misinterpret gentleness? How do you misinterpret humility? How do you misinterpret? These are revelations you get for yourself. And we know how these things work. So for me, I still insist that the moment there is an interpretation, you have created for yourself models. And the moment you have models, you run the problem of following man. And man by nature is imperfect. So for me, this advice thing, Shoma, I can see your hand. Are you good to go? If you are good to go, unmute and let's hear
Hi, Shoma. Can you talk now? You should really.
Yeah, there's Oppo. I can see.
Yeah, Oppo can speak.
Yeah.
Oppo, can you unmute your mic? If you can unmute your mic, please. Chief for real and Choma is the same person.
Okay, Chief for real. Your video I can see, but your audio I can't hear. Oppo.
Yeah, Oppo CPH 247. That's an Oppo phone, I would say.
Okay, so sometimes please try to put your name so that we can identify you by your names. And let's see anyone that has anything to say.
Hi, Ayo. It's been a while.
Yeah. How are you?
Okay. Hey, Ayo, how are you? It's been a while.
Yes, so good to see both of you. Moving on.
Yeah, good to see you too.
I'm so sorry for not being around. I've been so busy.
Okay, yes. Do you want to make your contribution on what we're talking about? Village people advice.
What advice did you receive when you were about to get married, and which one worked for you and which one didn't?
That is not the question. You have personalized the job.
Which one worked for you? Which one didn't? The first struggle to use English to divert the thing.
No, but
Okay, let's put it this way. I'll just put it this. I'll say one or two things and then let you know about my experience in life. I happen to be the type that, not that I don't believe in. I mean, when people advise me, I listen to them. I listen to them, take everything, sit down, dissect, see the one that is good for me, remove the ones that you can't be 100% correct. So whatever you say, I sit down to pick the ones that will favor me. The rest I'll keep somewhere. Now, when I was getting married, or before I got married, nobody pointed or showed me my wife and said that, oh, because of her character, this person is this, the person is that. No. What I did was to, like the last speaker said, to pray or read the Bible and all of that. Mine is simple. God won't show you your wife. You are to pray to God to guide you, lead you aright. I mean, what if the person you are believing in, that spirit is telling you, behold, behold, that's the woman, behold. And then that another spirit is telling that woman, beware, beware, beware of you. So, so mine was simple. I prayed to God. I was like, Father, guide me. I love this hymn so much. Guide me, oh, thou great Jehovah. Sorry, I lost my voice. I've been on set shooting this horror movie here. Terrible. So, yeah. I prayed to God to guide me. I met women. I met ladies. That one, when I was about giving up, was when I saw someone. And I was like, okay, let's try. Luckily, my story was just like hers. And then we started together. We started moving together. Things were not smooth. We thought we were not meant for each other. It was later that someone called me and said, oh, were you expecting things to be smooth? I was like, yes, that should be a pointer. And I remembered one of the words of wisdom of my late mentor, Gamaliel Onosode, that whenever you're having it smooth, you need to be careful. But if things are rough, you need to learn from that rough experience. So just like that, we sat down together. We're like, oh, is it that we're not meant for each other? We kept quiet. We're like, okay, let's just pray about it. We prayed and we continued. Later on, one thing led to another. We started gelling up. It wasn't like a movie, but we had a rough time. We had a smooth time. Gradually, funny enough, that was the shortest relationship I had before getting married. It was just like a year. We courted for a year and then we got married. Very rough, at the same time smooth, but it was more rough than being smooth. So now we are better, but we're still learning. It's a process. You keep learning. Even at 95, you continue to learn. People said this, as a matter of fact, when I was dating this and wasn't really, really fulfilled and all of that, some people called me and said, you're not serious. You're not serious. Instead of you to grab this one, I'm married now. Like I said earlier, I'll always listen. It's for me to sit down, dissect, and pick the ones good for me. They called me names. They called me names as in names. I never bothered. I was still being focused. I knew what I wanted. I was talking to God quietly to guide me. All I needed was God's guidance. And of course, God did not disappoint me. And that's just my own story.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Ayo. Technically, you are saying that we should rely on God for guidance, which is
based on his experience.
Based on his experience, which is basically what my opinion is. The scripture is the best place to get advice. Let's see, Oppo, Mr. Unique. Let's take Oppo first. If you are there, then Oppo. Yeah, let's hear
Hello,
you. If you are
everybody.
Yeah, hello.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, my name is Esther Umogene.
Okay. Oh, Doc. How are you, Doc?
Papa Stronghold, good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma. Are you wearing your bumper short and agbada?
No, today I'm not wearing bumper shorts. I'm just sitting down. How are you?
All right, let's hear you, please.
I'm sorry I joined very late. I realized I just realized I didn't have Zoom on my phone, and what I have is Google Meet. So I went to go and download it, and I was struggling to come into the so
Okay, that's
but
fine. Let's hear
generally,
you.
yeah, I've gotten the grip of the whole conversation. Well, everybody has spoken well so far, and everybody is right. But I just want to throw in one or two things. The word village people that you used is kind of is somehow but village people, that is when you say village people now, it doesn't have to be village people, like people that are close to you, people that are
Of
your
course,
people,
of course.
and maybe your
Yeah,
bone
village people
bone
was just a
friend.
satire. It's just
He
fun.
even counted me among self.
You're not good for village people.
That you are
But
village
anyway,
people, child.
village people are just friends and well wishers. Yeah.
Okay. So what I want to say is that advice from people that are close to you, sometimes they may sound absurd, sometimes they may sound reasonable. The truth of the matter is that you that has gone to ask for advice, or you that is giving advice, unsolicited advice, whether you like it or not, you don't have a complete picture. If you are giving unsolicited advice, you don't have a complete picture. The person that you are advising, you don't really know the intricacies of the person that they are telling you about. You might just be observing somebody from far, and you now see somebody that is close to you going close to the person. Ah, that girl when they go meet, so that girl I don't tear reach back. Oh, that girl I know it two boyfriend when the friend pass on. Now you want to go marry, all this kind of talk. You don't really know what is going on. So sometimes the advice might be sounding absurd. And then when somebody comes to you for advice, whether you like it or not, the person is not going to tell you everything. In fact, the things that is even considering why he wants this person, he will not even tell you. He might just present some of the doubts that he or she is having about the person before you. It's not going to tell you, most of the time, it might not tell you the good things about this person. So your advice is going to be one-sided. So the advice will look somehow to you, to be sounding absurd to you because you did not tell us exactly what it is, or you did not completely explain yourself. Or if you are giving advice, you don't know the whole thing. So my take is that you as a person, if you want to get advice for someone, if you are getting advice because of someone, maybe you want to make a choice of marriage and you want advice from people, you must first of all be ready to tell it as it is. If you are not going to tell it as it is better you don't ask for the advice, but go to the main source, which is what Pastor Stronghold has said. Go to the Bible, go into prayers, and ask God for revelation. Sometimes you might get your revelation from dreams. God might show you a picture if you are really serious to know. God might give most of the time, any relationship that you are going into, God will reveal something to you. It's just that most times people don't listen. They will not listen. They will just pretend as if they did not get it. Sometimes we are even hearing it inside of you that this person that you are following, are you sure this person is good enough for you? You are hearing it. It's even your angel, your guardian angel is telling you physically. But you will still say, no, the guy too fine. I beg, don't worry, I go change him. After some time, he will get better. You understand? So it happens. It happened to me. So I know what I'm talking about. But deep down, that man, the man in you, because you have decided that this is where you are going to go, no matter how the advice are going to give to you, because you are not going to tell the people the exact thing, you are going to still do that thing that you want to do. So anybody that is telling you, somebody that advised me, that is why I did not take it, that is why I did not do, or I did not listen to people's advice. If I had listened, I wouldn't have married wrongly. Or it's all a lie. It's a lie. You knew what you were doing. You knew exactly what you were doing. You knew the advices that you were going to take and the ones you were not going to take before you went into what you went into. So advice has got nothing to do with your decision making. Unless you are telling me you are not an adult, your thinking faculties are not working well. That means in the first place, you don't even deserve to have a partner. So that is my take.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Doc. This is running. You mean time flies on Unashamed Conversations?
As in this evening has been fast.
Anyway,
Rookie hand is up.
Rookie is up. Mr. Unique is up. I think Gochuku's hand is up. Okay, we're going to do this quickly. Everybody that has any contribution to say, we're going to do two minutes. Two minutes. No, maybe 1 more minute. Just try so that so that we can leave here by 9:50. Please. We are begging you. And before we forget, this is Unashamed Conversations, and my name is Ekine Struggled, and this is.
And I'm Joy. Fine Joy. Fine girl.
Fine girl. We didn't see. Yeah, and we've been having this conversation on village people advice when you want marry, yes or no. So we're going to run through. Please don't forget to follow us on our social media handles. You remember More Light Pictures on Facebook. And we'll read all of them, but let's run quickly. So let's start with Rookie. Rookie, final words from you.
All right. I was just gonna buttress what Ayo had said earlier by saying this, that sometimes too in marriage or even in other relationships we have with people, God uses the relationships to build character in us. Most especially in marriage. He uses it to build character in us. So some of us come into marriage with terrible attitudes. And I'll use myself as a perfect example. I have a smack mouth. I can talk smack to anybody. And in my marriage, I learned that my silence is actually my strength. I used to want to, tell my husband that I can speak English. I'm a voiceover artist. I was on TV and on radio. You can't tell me shit. And I would never get what I wanted from him. But I discovered over the years that really, sometimes it's not about letting him know that you know. In my silence, he's the one on his own that will not come and tell me, my wife, I think I agree with you. And that changed my character. So I was sitting down with someone one day when we were discussing, and she was like, Rookie, but check out, even when I got a job here and I started to teach, the same thing, I had some really difficult colleagues and I wanted to come at it with, don't even, but then again, that same thing, I needed to learn that your strength is actually in your silence. So sometimes your marriage might be proving difficult and you need to go back into your quiet place and learn the silent lesson that God is trying to bring into your attention. Sometimes it's pride that he's trying to break in us. Sometimes it's the smack mouth in my case. Sometimes it's just a bunch of things. But marriage builds your character. It forms you. And I feel that if more of us going in with that attitude that, look, it's a learning place. I'm never going to graduate from it. I need to have an open mind to it. We'll have longer marriages. These days, everybody feels that they know everything. They don't feel that they should change. It's always the other person that needs to change. It's not my problem. I'm not the one at fault. I'm perfect. But no, you're not perfect. We're all humans. We make mistakes. Look at yourself. Look inwards first before you begin to try to change your partner. You try to change. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, thank you so much,
Thank
Rookie.
you,
That was
Rookie.
wonderful. Thank you. So
And
this
of
next
course, Mr. Unique.
Yeah, I wanted to even tell you to give Rookie more, as in from my time, to go on speaking. But anyway, I only have 5 seconds contribution. I want to say, if you surround yourself with wise friends, you won't have a problem with taking advice. Thank you.
Chicken. Thank you, Mr. Unique.
Yes.
Really good one.
Thank you, Mr. Unique. Always witty and insightful. Yes. Maybe I saw your hand up. Yeah, any last words? Last words, maybe.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Apologies, I was in and out of the meeting as well. But I listened to most of it. Lady Joy, good evening.
Hi, good
Sir,
evening.
good evening, everyone. Okay, I'm not married, so I really don't know what I should be saying here. Which advice do I have when I never married? But all I can say is, I think just like everyone has said, marriage is really, I think at least, is really about two people with different backgrounds, different histories, different lifestyles coming together. And so the two things I like to say is one, consider whoever you're marrying, consider the attributes you can see and that have been revealed to you. Can you manage those attitudes and those values and perspectives for the rest of your life? If you believe you can, hop in. But also realize that we also have to realize that, just like you said, it's two people who decide and agree. We will come together, we will live together, which always means compromise, which always means adjustments. And as human beings, we over time can change. But I've come to realize a lot of times we can't force anybody to change. So we will go in there hoping for the change, but accepting that even if the change doesn't come, I will deal with it for the rest of my life. I think those kind of mindsets can help in any marriage. I think that's it. That's all I have to say. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mr. Coinage. Woo! Mr. Coinage, you have the floor.
Sorry, I joined late, and the very interesting topic about advice. I will just say this briefly. We have instincts, we have discerning spirits. My parents, years ago, before I got married, my instincts told me, hey, don't do this. But I still, I listened to advice from people who said that, and then was like, I don't know, that's, I'll change, I'll do that, I'm a different person and all that. And I believed it. I went in. Then I saw that this thing will not change you. It was just mellowed a bit. It will still come up. I decided then that, okay, whatever it is, I'm going to handle it with wisdom. And I gave my all. But of course, over time, you can't pretend for too long, especially when circumstances don't exactly favor what you want. I'm talking about the other person now. And then those behaviors that you saw, those instincts that were slapping you left, right, and center, they will not come and hunt you and say, oh boy, you should have listened to us, that kind of. So we don't really need to listen to people that much, except you are just looking for someone to validate your thoughts. We have the discernment. We have instincts that will tell us this is it. Except your instincts are partially informed, but you will know. You feel it in your spirit. Most times when you talk to people, you want the advice that you have already decided. So when they now say it in that, want you to come around to blame them. No. You followed your instincts. In my own case, I should have stood my ground. But anyway, I give God all the glory anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So at the end, you see, that's what I'm saying, that advice. This advice, you don't feel like saying you like advice, but well, for me, advice is, of course, when we look at the Bible says, in the multitude of counsel, there is wisdom. Wisdom, safety. Safety. But for me, you can't have more safety than the word of God.
And the word of God just told you the multitude of cancer.
And that's why you should go and look for the fruits of the spirit. And that's because the word of God is not subjective, it's not subjective, So make we just read the Bible before people know what you want and then do more research and then go for it, okay? So until we come your way again, it is Unashamed Conversations.
Thank you all. Thank you all for joining. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we'll be back again in 2 weeks to talk about another topic. Unfortunately, we couldn't take Chioma, and I really wanted to hear Chioma, but we are so out of time. I'd like us to please follow our social media pages.
Very, very important. Very, very important.
Please follow our social media pages. On Facebook is More Light Pictures, and on Instagram it is More Light Pictures. Same handle, both on Facebook and Instagram. So thank you all so much. If you've got feedback, you can just go to our social media pages and we'll keep the conversation going.
YouTube, subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe to YouTube, More Light Ministry. On YouTube, it is More Light Ministry on YouTube. Yeah.
Thank you for your
and you can also watch old episodes of Unashamed Conversations and just bring the conversation to our social media pages. So Stronghold. Stronghold.
It's a joy. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. God bless you.
God bless you all. God bless you all.
See you next week.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks, fortnightly.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
End it.